We're back for another week of True Conversations, Raw Arsenal fans. You're watching The Cannon Room, and I am Legsy.
I'm Naima.
And I'm Michael.
So today we're talking about 3 particular topics. Are Arsenal fans the most toxic in the league? Who should we buy in the summer? And if we don't win the Prem or the Champions League, should Mikel Arteta leave or stay? All right, guys, let's take it to the floor.
Do this.
So when you say toxic,
Yeah. Oh, God. Whoa. I knew she was coming for me.
what do you mean by that?
So let's look at the incident that happened recently where Arsenal drew consecutively, right? Against teams that they should have easily put to bed, okay? And we didn't, which meant that we dropped points and had Man City catch up. And if they win their next game,
Big
2 points. Big pressure. Why we've got to literally keep winning our games.
Yeah.
So what happened is that people panicked, a lot of people panicked, and they voiced it on the internet, online, how they were disappointed with the performance, how they were, the players were a disgrace and whatnot. And I only saw literally one video of somebody saying, calm down, it's fine, we're still on top, we still got this, there's still a lot of games to go. As long as we stay strong and we win, we'll be okay.
Yeah.
So are we the most toxic? Because we're only happy when we win. But if we draw or lose, hell breaks loose.
Yeah. An interesting one.
But are a lot of fans like this?
My argument is yes. But in short, a lot of fans are like this. And I think that, Arsenal fans come from a heavy place of PTSD. This is right?
I like the way you said that.
So this is just the honest truth about it. And then you've also got the sheer idea of volume. We're based in London, right? And so our story is quite unique when you think about previous success, PTSD from not quite getting over the line. There's not many other teams that can compare. So I think it's quite harsh. So in short, I'd say most fans are like this. In short, no, we're not the most toxic. I think that our case is quite unique. We come from a place of PTSD and we haven't won it for ages. So we're highly sensitive right now. That's my opinion.
I totally understand where you're coming from, Michael. But I just think that the negativity that we kind of put out there resonates and goes to the players because they've got social media access. They're on their phones. With all the time that they got in the world, they're on their phones, watching what we're saying. And when we're constantly projecting, oh, yeah, Saka didn't play like this. Oh, Gyökeres is like that. They can hear this. And that negativity kind of carries through and can be quite pressurizing for the players when they go on the pitch.
I hear that.
And, last time we even went as far as somebody showing, Rice's Mrs. picture and it just gets really bad.
I definitely think there's lines that shouldn't be crossed and showing his Mrs. photo like unnecessary. But it's like negative commentary to the way like players have played or like their performance. Is that not just like part of the job?
It is part of the job, but we're at a crucial time where we're really kind of like trying to cross that line that we haven't been able to cross for over 20 years. We need to be positive and encourage them to be like, come on, boys, you can do this. We're behind you, but we need to pick it up. Yes, I'm like one of those fans that gets really disappointed.
Yeah.
But I've learned to grow over the years and control it and be like, you know what? Even if we don't win it this year, I'm still going to be there, but we need to win it this year. We need to do it.
I know. I think my thing is that with toxic fans, I don't know. I think, again, if you consider mainstream media, right? So TalkSport right now, they used to have a program on there called The Daily Arsenal. Okay. There are 20 teams in the Premier League. No other team had something called The Daily Liverpool, The Daily Manchester United. Tell us. So it was basically just a TalkSport model is all based on quite similarly to what they try to suggest that AFTV or some of those other channels are like. It's all based on negativity. So they get people calling in and they'll be talking about, negatively Arsenal. And then they used to literally have a show dedicated to Arsenal because they knew with the sheer volume of fans that we have, we're going to get a lot of people complaining, right? Yeah. So
I also think sheer volume of fans, so sheer volume of haters. Yeah, it feels like every team has their rival team, right? But it feels like even outside of the rival team, there's a lot of hate.
Oh, 100%.
Arsenal.
And I think you're spot on. You know, 'cause my thing is actually, I think it goes way deeper than just kind of like what's going on the pitch right now. I think if you consider back to the 70s and 80s, like we used to have quite a lot of like Irish and Scottish players. And so we were always kind of seen as the outsiders. Like back then, before George Graham days, right? So it was always like, no one likes us. The Irish, the Scottish, they're not quite like the English. The successful sides in England back then, Leeds, Manchester United, a lot of English players, right? There's only Scottish players only became slightly kind of popular when Leeds started getting successful. So Arsenal have always been seen as kind of different from the rest.
Yeah.
You then consider where we are in London and the black players that were in and around the club. So it's a difficult conversation, but realistically, you consider England and they've always looked at Arsenal negatively.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I get it.
So it's a really, it's with negativity. So I don't know. I think that the toxic fan and the whole idea that we're different from others, I think it's placed on us. I don't think it's something that's unique to
Okay.
Yeah.
Not to be offensive at both sides in person, a bit like Keir Starmer. I agree with both of you. I actually I feel like we need to send positive vibes. Like, if you want your team to win, we have to be accountable to each other as fans to be like, maybe if there's going to be negativity, let's save it until the run is done. Do you know what I mean? And then we can reflect on what needs to happen and have all of those discussions. I do think there's something to say about how powerful positive reinforcement and positive energy and just having a whole fandom believe in you regardless of the hurdles that you may fall along the way. But equally, I do feel like it's part of football culture. And so it shouldn't necessarily be something that's oh, this is uniquely Arsenal and our fandom is uniquely toxic. Because I see toxicity everywhere.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. You're definitely right, and I agree with you as well. And I agree with what you're saying. But for me, as you know,
first and foremost,
you know, let's just be positive about this season. Let's send that out to the boys so that they can go on the pitch and be confident as well. And let's win this league. We are the best in the world right now.
Agreed.
God.
Use your words of affirmation.
Yes. We are the best right now. Let's go for it. Okay, cool. So I guess we can agree that half and half.
Yes. Okay. I'm happy with that.
Great. All right, cool. So next up, let's talk about what we're lacking right now and potentially who we could buy in the summer. Because if we win the Prem, I would like to do it again. Not sort of jumping
the gun
the year and losing the next year and then win it. No, I want to win it consecutively for about the next 3 years, right?
Yeah.
So what do we need to do? Who do we need to buy in order to make sure that this can be fulfilled?
Wow.
This is where you guys are going to This is where I need the education because I have no idea who we need to buy.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
For me personally, the defense is solid.
Right.
The midfield, we've got it right.
Okay.
And I think we've got to buy an attacker that can play alongside Gyökeres if we're doing a 4-4-2.
I like it.
You know, and it needs to be a prolific scorer. So for me, I've been on market transfer looking at who are the top scorers in Europe. And I think we need to look along those lines. And top 10, we need to pick one of those guys and buy and spend a bit of money so that we know that up front we're covered for the new season. And when we start, we're guns blazing, we're scoring goals galore.
Love it.
What do you think?
Who is that?
Well, I mean, right now, Harry Kane is the number one in Europe. He's the top scorer in Europe right now. But we're not going to...
Can you imagine that?
Yeah, that's not going to happen. We won't even allow that. We won't even allow that, right? Yeah. But then you've got, you know, Mbappe and all of that. But then could you really see Mbappe at Arsenal?
Yeah, we do have an issue in terms of how much we can spend this year as well. That is going to be a bit of an issue. So I think we're going to have to probably consider sales before we bring someone in. So
yeah, but then I'd really resell if that's the case.
I think that there's very sensible. There's a sensible case to sell the likes of Martinelli and Jesus.
Okay,
I think both of them should probably leave. I think with Jesus, I certainly think that the injury issues he's had, through the amount he's on in terms of his salary, I think he's one of the highest paid players at the club. So I would certainly look to sell both of those guys.
Okay.
I also think there are a couple of other sales in the other areas of the pitch where we could probably afford to do it. The likes of Ben White, I think we probably could afford to do that.
Okay.
And that would probably generate enough money to go and spend in the attack. I personally feel that we should be investing in the left wing position, and then also the centre forward. Who? I don't know. I'm not too sure as yet, but I certainly feel that there's a position where we can raise the ceiling at Arsenal with those two positions.
What are your thoughts on Odegaard? Do you think he should stay, or do you think he should go?
That's a fantastic question. Personally, I think that he's another one who could potentially leave this summer.
Okay.
And my reasoning is simply his position, right? So you think of the likes of Ethan Nwaneri, who's out on loan. He's just recently signed a 5-year deal, just fairly recently. I wouldn't want to lose him. And then you think next down in line, Max Dowman, who is generational. So I would personally consider both of them generational talents.
Okay.
We don't really want to be losing any of them.
No.
So I would consider letting someone like Martin Odegaard go. Considering we bought it for 35 million, we could probably obtain the best part of 100 million for him. I think I'll give 60, 70, 80 million for him. So I personally would consider that this summer as well.
Okay. So who do we bring in if we were to get an attacker? And this is literally to just prolifically score goals. Because I think we need someone like a Haaland in the team that's just week in, week out there scoring. Who do we bring in?
Can I give a name?
Please.
I think that we should be interested in the likes of Vinicius Jr.
Oh,
Now,
very
hear me out on this.
very controversial. Do you like Vinicius Jr.?
I love that he's unapologetically him.
Good.
And you know what? I think that we are...
That's what I'm all about.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that we're a club that can platform him.
Yeah.
Like, if we roll back to considering, like, where our position is in English football, right?
Yeah.
And you think of the face of Arsenal right now, my boy Saka, Black, you know? And I think that you don't really see that in English football. And I think that considering the kind of problems he's been facing in Spain, he would find himself...
more at home.
Certainly that. And we will give him the love he needs.
Can I say something?
Right.
Starboy Saka, yes, we all love him, but I love Saka, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with this, but I don't know if we can make the comparison, because I do feel like Saka is a quote unquote palatable black person in the sense that he hasn't really done anything that obviously rubs people the wrong way, where things that shouldn't, for example, examples that come to my mind straight away, Marcus Rashford doing the free school kid thing. They crucified him just for trying to be charitable, right? Raheem Sterling, when he was buying his family houses and stuff, crucified him, but his counterparts can do that with no issue. So whereas with Saka, outside of obviously like when we were doing the international, like the Euros and the World Cup, outside of obviously like the backlash that all the black players in that sense, I feel like Starboy Saka, I don't know if that's a good comparison to make to Vinny.
No,
do you know what I mean?
100% know what you mean. Saka, grade A student, like academically I understand exactly what you mean.
He's like a humble, like he's the respectable.
Of course. But I think that my thing is that where a club can put someone like Saka as the face of the club, I don't think that's happening in many other clubs in the UK. Like Marcus Rashford is a prime example, right? So even though he was, when he came through, kind of star boy of Manchester United, I think the moment he did something wrong, fair enough, the English press, you're never going to get away from that. I'm talking about the way that the club will platform you. And I think that we would be a club that would do that with Vinicius Jr. Whilst Real Madrid, you know, it's a very difficult place. The landscape in Spain, they're just not going to be receptive to someone of that skin colour. So, you know.
But do you think he'll be able to sort of be able to settle with the way that the English game is? Because he's played over there for such a long time. And this is what I always say. If you want to know how good of a player you are, you need to play in the Prem.
Right.
And that's why my love for Ronaldo and Messi is very different, right? Because one's done it, one hasn't, and one seems to be the best player in the world, but he hasn't come here yet. So for me, the question is, can he establish himself at Arsenal first and foremost within the team, and can he do the same thing that he does in Spain in the Premier League?
I think that's a great question. In terms of attacking wise, certainly. I think when you're looking at Mikel Arteta and his structures, you know, obviously he has quite a big defensive responsibility for the wingers. You know, the likes of even Leo Trossard, just seeing him doing a lot of kind of defensive play now. Martinelli, since he's been in the side since 2021-22 under Arteta, he's always done that. Come back on the defensive side. Will Vinicius Jr. be able to do that kind of thing. Mikel's Arteta's Arsenal, I don't know. But one thing I will say is that if you consider the way that Mikel Arteta has always kind of evolved tactically since 2021, he can change. So next year, it might be a case of, okay, if the team platforms him, maybe he gets another kind of defensive player next to Rice, maybe brings Rice back a little bit, platforms the attackers to go be more kind of attacking with freedom, then why not? So,
okay. All right. But do we always have to bring like a big name to Arsenal? Because we've always been known as the club that kind of brings in the kind of, you know, lesser famous players and then build them up and they become like superstars, and then we sell on. You know, we've done that with Henry, and he wasn't a star when he came, but when he arrived at Arsenal, he done the best he's ever done in his life, you know, in his career. So do we always need a big name?
I think that football is cyclical, and I think that if you consider when we signed Henry, right? So when was that? Like around about 97. That was a time when we were trying to reach the top of the game, right? Granted, we haven't won anything yet, but you could argue that Arsenal have been playing at the top of certainly English and European football for about 2-3 years now. So I think that when you're looking at signers like Declan Rice, we're in a position now where to raise the ceiling, you have to be buying those types of players.
Yeah.
We don't really want to be buying anyone in kind of middle of the road where it's someone where, okay, maybe they'll become a star. Really, to really raise the ceiling, we're going to be looking at those type of players. That's the kind of market we're in right now.
Because you need a special manager to be able to sort of pick out those type of players. And Wenger was amazing at doing that. He always brought people on board who were not known, but then they became stars through the way that he played. So, you know, you need a special manager to do that. I'm not saying Arteta can't do that, but we haven't seen that yet.
No, it's fair.
You know, but I mean, do you all agree that I think Vinicius Jr. would be a great addition to Arsenal's attacking
Fantastic.
I would love to see it.
There we go. We're all in agreement with that. Yeah.
Come on.
With my limited, with my ever-growing knowledge, I would still love to see
You're
it.
and like gaining so much knowledge every single week. It's unbelievable.
You sounded knowledgeable about Vinicius, I must say.
Do you know what? It's because I'm always rooting for everyone black.
Yeah, fair. Yes, and why not?
You're going to have to start paying us, seriously.
And especially what he's going through right now. So I think
Yeah,
that makes
no,
sense.
exactly. And that gave me like a bit more of a crash course into his situation. I lost to hyperfixate on it.
Yeah.
He needs to break. He needs to come to the best league in the world and play for the best.
Let us platform him.
Come on, baby. Make it happen. Okay, let's talk about what should happen to Mikel Arteta if Arsenal does not go on to win the Premier League or the Champions League. The FA Cup, we've done it 14 times. Easy. Carabao Cup, I'm sure, you know, we've got a tough opponent, but we'll fight strong. We'll come strong and we'll fight for that one. But the Prem and the Champions League are the two cups that we're really sort of looking at the moment. If we don't win any of those two, should Mikel Arteta stay or should he leave? And why? And who do we get?
I'll start because I don't have as much knowledge as you both. From my limited knowledge, my answer would be he should stay.
Okay.
Purely because I feel like sometimes people can jump the gun and be a bit rash on making decisions when teams don't win. But I feel like you have to look at like other things outside of winning when you're making that decision of who should be the manager. And from my perspective, the culture that has been created, the like level of momentum that has been created, I fear that if you then remove him because he hasn't won this year, does that just dash away all of the work that he's done the past 5-6 years?
Well, it's interesting you say that because for me personally, I think we've become too familiar with sacking managers just because they're not performing well. You know, we're not giving them enough chances. And I'm not just talking about Arsenal, like across board, if you look at the number of managers that have been sacked just this year alone, it's despicable. And I think it's the fans, you know, it's whatever's going on in the background, you know, that we don't see, you know, with the board and stuff. And yes, we do want successful managers. We do want people who can deliver. But at the same time, we've got to look at, okay, it's a process.
Yeah.
You know, who comes in and wins straight away. Some interim managers have been able to do it, but I think that's you've got to be very lucky to do that.
Yeah.
But I think Mikel's been very good, to say the least. And I think he can do great things at Arsenal, but I think he needs time. And this year, he's showing that the time is now.
Yeah, I think, do you know what? I think it's a really, well, let me put it this way. I think if we were to sit here with a Chelsea fan, a Manchester United fan, a Liverpool fan, and you hear them, they always ask Arsenal fans, if you guys don't win the Premier League or Champions League, does Mikel Arteta go? I always flip the question back to them. I said, what do you think should happen? They say, I think he should go. And then we have a little bit of a conversation, right?
Yeah.
And then what you end up finding out is that would be their preference. Irrespective of whatever we win,
Because they're the ops.
they want him to go.
Yeah.
And you know why? Because they can see how good he is.
They're the ops.
That's quite simply it. So my thing is, so I don't know. So my thing is, immediately, if you were to ask me now, I would say no. But context matters. Quite simply, we're in February right now, right?
Yeah.
Like, how are we going to manage the rest of these 10 games, right? So if we all of a sudden start performing like we did against Wolves, so in all of those 10 games, and we finish, the best part of 10 points behind Manchester City, probably won't happen. But if that does happen, then you have to look at it and be like, maybe he isn't the guy to take us over the line.
Yeah.
My thing is, I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And we're probably going to fight to the end of the season. It's going to be a close race. Whether we win it or not, I can't say that right now. I'd like to say that we are. But that's really how you judge the manager, in my opinion. I think that just to draw the line and say black and white, is he going to go whether he wins or not? I don't think you can answer that now properly. It's all about context, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. You're definitely right. So, overall, what would you like to see? And what would you like to see as
When you say overall, what do you mean?
I mean, does he go regardless?
No.
Or does he stay?
My thing is no. My thing is stay regardless.
Stay regardless.
And at this point in time, but again, I have quite limited knowledge.
Yeah.
But I think, like you said, other players probably want him, other teams, and other fans probably want him to go through their own agendas. And I just feel like managers deserve to have a proper tenure to actually work out their strategy.
I mean, he has had a long time. Let's make no mistake. He came
How long?
So December 2019 is when he signed.
Okay.
But I think that another point about this is that Mikel Arteta has always overachieved. Certainly when he first came, he signed in December 2019. COVID hit us in March 2020. So Mikel Arteta didn't have a proper transfer window until I believe the summer of 2021. So 2021-2022 season, that's the first year that you saw Arsenal progress. From 2 8th place finishes, all of a sudden we start to qualify for the Champions or compete for the Champions League. Granted, we finished 5th that 21-22 season. The following season, 22-23, from jumping, everyone's saying to us in the media, oh, they're not going to be able to qualify for Champions League again. All of a sudden we're competing for the league title. Yeah. So again, overachieving, right? Yeah. Again, couple of injuries, the squad wasn't that strong. The following season, 23-24, one of our best ever, in fact, it was our best ever Premier League finish. 89 points, scoring 91 goals, 23-24 season. So he's always overachieved. And then I do believe last season, 24-25, was an anomaly because we had plenty of injuries, right? Yeah. Which then brings us to this season. I think if you really break down Mikel Arteta's career, he's been superb as a manager. Of course. So, of course, And
I think...
You gave me the ammo. Exactly.
I just want those who want Mikel Arteta to leave, at the end of the season, I want a big apology. I want you guys to write a letter.
Let's win it.
And send it to Arsenal and apologize, and say sorry to all the players and the manager for all the nasty things that have been said.
That's it. Or we're just all at a trophy parade and everyone just comes and has a good drink. That's it, right?
Exactly. Wonderful. Okay, so I think we've summed that up. I think Mikel Arteta, whether we win or whether we lose, he stays.
Agreed.
Okay, good.
You have to ask me now.
See what you're saying.
So, guys, we're back on a pitch on Sunday, playing Chelsea at home. Not the easiest of teams because it's a bit of a topsy-turvy situation with them because sometimes we get it right, sometimes we get it wrong, although they haven't beaten us for a very long time. But there is still a chance that they could come very, very strong because even the last game that we played, they gave us a hard time. So what are your thoughts for Sunday? What are your predictions as well? And how do we win this game?
Well, I personally feel that since the North London derby and the win, the feel-good factor is probably back in the club. I'm going to predict that we beat them. I do think it's going to be a cup final atmosphere for Chelsea. They're going to want to try and stop us from winning the league or, put a dent in our feel-good vibe. So it will be tough, no doubt about it. I think that they will probably adopt similar tactics to what they did in the League Cup, where they tried to go quite defensive and stifle us, simply because they probably know that they're not as good as us to take us on in a battle. So I can imagine, they're going to sit back, try and hit us on the counter-attack and affect us that way. But I think we'll have too much quality for them. So I'm pretty confident of a victory. I'll be there cheering the guys on. So let's all hope for a victory.
Okay, so what is your... Okay, we'll take that later on.
Okay.
Let's see what you've got to say about it. Obviously, like you said,
I don't know much about Chelsea.
Yes, you don't know much about Chelsea. But you know a lot about Arsenal.
I'm getting,
you know a lot about Arsenal.
I'm getting the feel of Arsenal, and I'm getting the feel of like how we play. I do feel like we spoke about this before, where sometimes it feels like Arsenal get too complacent with like the smaller teams. So I'm expecting them to play well against, like, better than they have against, like, when you were talking about we were drawing and it was like, why are we drawing? And that's why the fans are getting so mad. Yeah. I don't expect to see the same sort of like lackluster performance against Chelsea. But I agree that I feel like it's heating up now. So I feel like it is going to be tense. I feel like it is going to be tight. And I feel like it's going to be entertaining, which I love. I love the entertainment. I love to be at the edge of my seat. I love to be like, it's like, what's happening? Like, that's why I primarily enjoy sports, period, is for that. But ultimately, obviously, I have to say we're going to win.
Come on. Yeah.
Especially at home. Like, I feel like it's an expectation. Like, you can't predict otherwise. I feel like that's just ridiculous.
Listen, and they haven't beaten us at home for a very long time.
Yeah.
I mean, Chelsea, if we go back in time, they've been Arsenal's Achilles heel, right? With the DJ Drogba days and our days, and they will come and terrorize us, But it's not the same team anymore. No. And I think...
Like, at the moment, the only player I know is Cole Palmer.
Yeah, exactly. And he's good, He can, change games. But at the same time, I just feel like we need to ride on the momentum from the Tottenham win.
Yeah.
And we really need to go out there and not get complacent, like I've always said. And just really believe, because I feel like there's just this lack of belief in the boys, right? And then I also feel like there's...
Do you think there's a lack of belief? What, in the squad?
Absolutely, because even Declan's spoken about it, He's spoken about the fans kind of, cheering us on and being positive and, confidence. And, Arteta's always talking about, we need to be confident. We need to go out there and really kind of play and believe in ourselves, because the only team that can actually stop us right now is Arsenal, is ourselves, right? Because... We're that strong this year. Everybody believes that we are the strongest team, and I was saying this earlier on. We don't have an attack that's good enough to score goals week in, week out, but we've been able to do it with just a midfield that's great and a defense team that's amazing.
Yeah.
So when people are out there saying, Arsenal's the worst team that's gonna potentially win the Premier League,
what does that say about you?
What does that say about you guys? What does that say about you?
Yeah, which is complete nonsense anyway. The whole talk about that is complete nonsense. Right?
So I think going into this game, once again, no complacency, go in there and take the win from Tottenham, bring it home, and let's just smash it.
Yeah.
Let's just smash it. And, the whole thing about kind of holding the ball and walking it into the net, that's one of my pet peeves with Arsenal. Like, please, let's just shoot. From anywhere. And that's why we need the likes of Vinicius Jr. to come in, because those players are just like, they'll get it, they'll shoot. You know what I mean? That's all. I just say, just shoot from anywhere, please. Like, and also, if anybody's in the team that's acting a bit greedy, we all know who those people are. Just release the ball, please. Release Ali to Gyökeres and let him do his thing, because he's on fire right now. He's on fire. I was actually looking online, and he's like one of the most viewed players right now on the market right now. Everybody's looking at Gyökeres. So he is capable of doing what we brought him to do.
Yeah.
And if he's in the right position, right ball, he will put it in the back of the net.
That's it. I mean, you mentioned about Gyökeres, and I think there's some statistics out there that show that since 2026, since the start of the year, he's like one of the highest scoring forwards in the whole of England in all competitions. So, he's certainly doing his thing. I think Sunday, I definitely feel like there is belief in the squad. I will say, I do think there is belief in the squad. I just think it's about application. And like you say, with the momentum thing after Spurs, I think we should go there and beat them. Absolutely. We showed in the League Cup, even at Stamford Bridge, and in the return leg where we just kind of held them at arm's length. They were a better side. So we should just, keep our focus, and we should be able to pick up the victory on Sunday.
Okay, so let's do our predictions, guys. What do you think the score is going to be?
I'm going to say 2-1.
2-1.
2.
Oh, to us.
To Chelsea, you say?
2-1 to us. I do feel like I feel like we're going to win, but I do feel like maybe it'll be a bit of a fight. I don't know. Or do you think we're gonna thrash them?
I personally don't think it's going to be a thrashing because Chelsea are a good team, regardless. You see what I mean? We don't hate on any team. I don't think it's going to be a thrashing. If it does end up being a thrashing, then that's great. But I think it's going to be either. I would go with 1-0. 1-0 Arsenal.
Nice.
1-0 Arsenal. A nice, clean, battle. But we're going to definitely score and win this game.
I like it. I am typically reserved in these type of things. And I would usually say, 1 goal deficit and that kind of thing. I'm going to put my neck on the line.
Okay.
I'm going to say 3-0 Arsenal. I have reasoning. I'm going to talk about the fact that Cucurella is out injured. He typically does a very good one-on-one job with Saka. He's an annoying guy. He's out injured. Hamstring injury. I don't think he's going to be back. There's also rumours that Esteval, the winger, who again has looked pretty lively against us, apparently he's out injured as well.
Sorry.
So couple that with the idea that feel-good factor after Spurs, the fact that Chelsea have got some injuries and suspension issues. The Fofana, again, got sent off last week. So their back line, and they've had defensive problems all season. Their goalkeeper loves to make an error against us. I'm going to put my neck on and say 3-0 Arsenal.
Wow. That's big. That's big. I would love to see that personally. I mean, 1-0 is boring. I would love to see 3-0, and that would just be fantastic. And that would just edge us closer to winning this game. But yeah, with City breathing on our necks, it's not easy. It's not easy. Do you think that pressure is gonna kind of limit us to potentially winning this game this Sunday?
It's interesting because City play first on the Saturday, right? So they play Leeds before us.
Yep.
That will be a tough game. I think they'll probably end up getting through, which will mean it reduces the gap to 2 points, you believe?
Yeah.
So big pressure. But again, there's going to be plenty of times where we're playing after them. I think we just have to focus on ourselves. There's increased pressure from City. We know that. But apply ourselves. We're in our own lane when it comes to this. Apply ourselves, and we should hopefully be able to perform the way we know we can.
Oh, you heard it here, guys.
All right, so that's a wrap on the Cannon Room this week. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening. Let us know your thoughts in the comments, or whether you think Arteta should be out, whether you think our Arsenal fans are toxic. We don't think so, really. Not really, the grand scheme of things. And yeah, let us know what your predictions are for this weekend's game. Let us know in the comments. And what do you want to see us talking about in the next episode?
Oh, also don't forget, who do we buy for the summer to make sure that we go on to win the Premier League
again and again.
All right, that's it, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Peace.